only duos they could find.
You sitting on his lap?
It was all
I don't sit on that side of him.
Is that your good side? Your good side's over here?
Wait, Anthony, I think we should switch. I'm pretty sure that's my good side.
Oh, really? Is it, okay, yeah. Okay, cool.
Whew. I'm on the wrong side, and I wouldn't let the other half be up here with me, so I'm stuck on this side. So welcome to the Dynamic Duos panel. Thanks for coming and sitting down and not jumping on bouncy stuff for a while.
That does look a little bit more fun, though. Look at that.
We should probably have done the panel on that.
That would have been pretty badass.
That would have been interesting. So real quick, if you don't know, I'm Benny Fine, one half of the Fine Brothers, who are founders of Fine Brothers Entertainment, and they asked me to moderate the Dynamic Duo panel. And I don't know where he is, and it's fine. We can be separated. It's okay. But to my right, we have Ian and Anthony of Smosh.
Hello.
I'm the Ian.
I'm Anthony.
It's them. And also joining us, of course, from Mythical Entertainment, Rhett Link.
Hello, VidCon Europe. Hello.
So, being in a duo, I would say a lot has changed for all of us in terms of our careers on the internet since it all began. But I remember in the very, very beginning thinking how hard it was to do what we were doing with me and Rafi, and thinking, this is so hard, it's just two people. And then I met everyone who was all by themselves, who was jealous of us. So being in a duo has definitely helped what I've done, and I'm sure everyone up here as well. So I'm going to start with the question of, when did this all begin? In terms of when did you become a duo the first time? And the follow-up of when did you realize it wasn't just going to be a one-time thing, and this was now going to be like for life?
Yeah, well, we started as a duo of friendship first in 6th grade, which I know doesn't beat you guys. Yeah, we were just friends for a long time, and we didn't start making videos until we were right out of high school. So we were each 17, and we just had the same humor. Our minds were very much alike through all those years. We kind of built up the same sort of humor. We watched the same shows. So we were very much in tune with each other's sense of humor. So when we started making videos, like, everything just made sense.
And when was the moment that you realized this was going to become larger than what you thought, and now you're a duo forever?
I think that it was just that we enjoyed making videos so much. We were like, you know what, let's just keep doing this as long as we possibly can. And it just made sense because we had the same exact sense of humor. So.
And what about you guys?
Yeah, we met in 1st grade, which is 5 years more
Show up.
than you guys. I mean, we didn't make our first video together till 2nd grade? No. Video didn't exist when we were in 2nd grade.
It was middle school.
The first thing we did wasn't a video, it was the fall festival.
Oh, the OPP?
Oh yeah.
Anybody a fan of Naughty by Nature? Remember those guys?
Yeah.
A few.
They did a song called OPP, which is an acronym for something. And we changed it to Halloween. We did a song about, instead of "you down with OPP, yeah, you know me," it was "you down with Halloween." Yeah, you know me. We performed that for our school, and that was when we knew we were headed for greatness.
So I've been with my partner duo since he was in the womb. So
Yeah.
is that
You got us all.
Oh yeah, shade.
So can you talk about what would you say is the biggest thing that has changed in how you work as a team now, as so much has grown around all of us with different team members, compared to like in the beginning when it was just the two of you to now? Like, what would you say is the biggest thing that's changed in terms of how you work together?
Oh, you don't want to keep talking about the womb? Because that would not be weird
I
at
can
all.
talk about Rafi coming out of the womb.
Which one was first, though?
Well, do you not know which one of us was older?
I actually, wait, you're the older one, right?
I am.
That's why you're here. What was the question? How has our...
Yeah, how's the relationship changed in terms of like the biggest thing that's changed in how you work as a team from the beginning compared to how you work as a team now, if at all?
I mean, for us, it started out with writing songs. So, once it started to break out from there, I think we had to start to learn what our strengths were and what our weaknesses were, and how we wanted to divide the labor a little bit. So it's like, okay, you can play guitar, you should probably keep doing that. yeah, I'm not gonna worry about learning how to play a guitar. But I'm more into editing, so I mean, we both edited stuff early on, but I was more into that. So he might be thinking about the next thing that we were gonna work on, and I would be doing more of the editing.
And I also think that, you know, you hire a team around you to take something off of your plate, but you guys know how it works. It ends up more people create more content, and the company's bigger and that kind of thing, and so you end up kind of having even more responsibilities. You know, 8 years ago, if it was like in the afternoon, we could be like, you just want to just go watch a movie? You want to go to the matinee today? That could never happen now, right? There's no taking off any time during the week. It's, you know, it's very constant, and now there's lots of meetings, and I think it's turned into dividing and conquering. So there's a lot of things that we're both not in now. Just when you have that team, it's like, well, we both don't need to be in this meeting right now. Why don't you do this and I'll do this? Whereas before, it was just the two of us in a room for 50 hours a week, plus, you know. So that's changed a little bit. But I mean, ultimately, I think that there's probably less arguments now. When you're spending more time with your business partner than you are your wife.
I disagree with that. Well, I do spend more time with you and my wife.
Okay.
I disagree that we fight less.
Really? Fighting right now?
I guess so. I guess
Are you starting a fight right now?
Yeah, I am.
This is a little awkward.
And I mean, really, it hurt my feelings. I mean, let's just cut to the case.
I'm sorry. I apologize. There's lots of apologizing involved. That's the key. Was that the question? What's the key to a great friendship? Apologizing.
Exactly. What about for you guys? Like, what's different now?
I'd say working with someone for so long kind of feels like what I imagine a marriage would feel like. It's like you start off not really knowing how you work together, and by the end you kind of figured out which person has which strengths. So like at the beginning we would kind of both just try to do everything, and then it evolved to be like I would do most of the editing while Ian would do more script writing, and then we would kind of just like work together on the things that made sense, but otherwise we were separate. And now I think we've really kind of figured out which things we're best at, and we focus on that more.
Yeah, it's actually a lot of parallels with what you guys do. We kind of found the strengths and the weaknesses, and you know, I think it was a similar thing where Anthony and I spent basically every waking hour around each other trying to, you know, make videos. Or what typically happened with what you guys said, we would, a few times we were filming a video and then we're just like, you want to just go to Denny's, which is a terrible restaurant diner in the US, and we would just leave what we were doing and go eat for like 3 hours.
And 3 hours of food, just constant food.
And that's obviously not sustainable. That's not like a sustainable thing you can do.
Yeah, you would die.
Yeah, if you're eating Denny's every day. So it was kind of a thing where we had to sort of like, you know, grow up and sort of find what we each did better. And he's a lot faster at editing than I am. I just kind of sit there and I'm like staring at the screen. I'm like, okay, this button, this button.
And then a lot of it with us, and I think it's probably parallel with you, is learning how to manage a team, which kind of feels like your children. So that parallel of marriage, I think, just never ends when you're working with someone so much.
Except these children are sometimes older than us, which is a little weird.
That's true, and they're bearded, which I don't imagine myself with a bearded child at the moment.
It could happen.
Could happen.
Yeah, it's the kids parallel. That's something that we say a lot too. It feels like the employees that you end up working with or hiring do kind of become your children, but in an odd reflection of yourself kind of way. Especially for like what we do, where we're training them to make the shows that we make. And like, we could not be out here. We literally could not be out here right now. I wouldn't have been able to come to VidCon Europe had we not had a team who are making and in production and filming like in a few hours right now. And I thought that would have been impossible back in the day. So a lot of times people will ask us, like, how do you divide and conquer? Like, and even now, we just talked a little bit about how it was some of the creative, some of the editing, but now when it comes to managing teams, like, is there dividing and conquering even going on inside of what you now are doing with your teams, that you're responsible for different sides of the business?
Not really. We don't go that far. You know, when it gets to be bigger decisions, I mean, we know when to bring in the other guy. So it's, I mean, you'd be shocked how many meetings there are. I think a lot of mythical beasts, well, maybe think, and a few will tweet, it's like, what do you guys do with the rest of your day? And you mentioned meetings, like, really? But really? So we're not both in meetings with, but we want everything to do to reflect what we've built and what we want to make. So we are in meetings in order to convey that to people, and then we've got a great team that then can execute things. But we're not both in there, so then we know what to run by the other person before it's like, okay, this is a huge decision. You're going to see this pop. You're going to want to see this pop up. I don't know, as an Instagram concept, and we didn't talk about it. You know, Instagram concepts. That's the new thing.
You have some of those?
It's a new app within Instagram.
Oh.
It's called Instagram Concepts.
Yes. But you just think.
You just think
about things within Instagram and
Right.
never become anything.
Right, and I've got a huge idea for that. I don't want to run by you.
Okay. All right. We'll talk later.
It's in the conceptual
We'll have a
phase.
meeting later.
Meeting.
But is that the type of thing that you might run by the bigger things together, but there is like, maybe one's focusing more on Instagram as something? And
Yeah. That was one thing I was going to say. As I do think that there are different projects where one of us will kind of take most of the time with it. If there's a lot of details involved in some social media campaign that's going on, Link may take that and work with the social media team on that, and then he'll just be like, okay, here's what we're doing, and I'll be like, okay, that sounds cool, man. I'm going to the matinee this afternoon. You want to come? Yeah, so we do that. So I think it's by project, and a lot of that is, again, it's just out of necessity. Once you say yes to so many things, you're just like, well, this is not going to happen if you don't take this and I take this.
So the evolution even of being a team, just the two of you, now to having multiple people, there's still parallels to even how things get done, even as a duo running a business.
Right. Yeah, and I think that, the interesting thing though is I think that in one sense, because a lot of the business, a lot of the business that just takes place in Mythical Entertainment is now being taken care of by other people who are on just a day-to-day basis. I mean, if you go back to the beginning of this whole thing, we were writing our own legal contracts
In crayon.
to work with a brand. So there was no agency involved in a lot of that stuff we did back in the day. We would literally be talking directly to a brand, and I would be calling my dad, who is a law professor, and I'd be like, Dad, I'm gonna write this contract. I just need you to look at it and make sure it's legit. And so we're not doing that. I don't write the contracts anymore. So a lot of
I
our
think we Googled boilerplate language.
Oh yeah.
And we added 5 pages.
I did a lot of cutting and pasting. But so now a lot of our conversations are more strictly creative, which I think is great, because we're not sitting around fretting about a lot of different aspects of the business. We can get back into talking about Instagram concepts, which is a great new feature that's going to be coming out as soon as we have a meeting about it.
I'm sorry, I just realized that I was up there, a bigger version of myself. I don't know why I didn't realize that before now.
A cactus shirt on. I didn't realize that until I looked up there.
And Ian and Anthony, for you guys, like, is there things that, especially as the Smosh brand has grown, like, are there things that only one of you kind of handles more than the other?
Well, I think.
Oh no. You. Okay.
Maybe we just say it at the same time. Hamburgers. Ham.
You go.
Well, I think, several years ago, our goal was to, like them, sort of get the kind of business, boring, just terrible stuff off of our plates and just focus on creative solely. So, as far as the scripts now, the writing and the production of the videos, we sort of work together on that now. Like, Anthony's able to help out with the writing a lot more now that he's not sitting there editing a video from beginning to end.
40 hours of editing a week for 5 years.
That was a lot of fun, I'm sure. Yeah. So yeah, and I think we also sort of work as a buffer for each other. Like if one of us has an idea that we think is great, the other could go, that might not be
Yeah, I think it's a lot of like getting comfortable shooting down each other's ideas and saying, no, I don't think that idea really works. And just like being able to accept hearing that, I think makes you a much stronger duo. You know, if you're too like on edge, like no, my idea is good, just trust me. But you know, I think it's a lot about just learning how to work together like that.
Yeah, it's kind of that thing where you have to. I think sometimes with creative partnerships, there's sort of this ego thing where somebody's like, no, I'm the genius here. Trust me, this is going to be great. Like, but Anthony and I listen to each other, and if one of us can prove the argument that that video sucks, then the other person will accept that that video does suck and we shouldn't make it.
Happens a lot.
Is there anything that we don't realize, maybe it already happened, so if it did, I'm sorry, I didn't see the video. But has there ever been something that's like a solo project but inside of the channel that maybe people don't realize was something that you did completely by yourself? Or when it comes to things that you're in or you're part of, there's still always some collaboration going on? Or is there something that's like, you know what, just take that project, go for it? Has that happened yet? And if not, do you think it might at some point?
With us, like everything on the Smosh channel, anything that we're in, at least, because we have a lot of different things going on there, anything that we're in has some kind of collaboration between the two of us. And there have been many projects though where like one of us is like, I want to take this one, I want to be in charge of this one, but still there's always some kind of collaboration there.
I thought your second channel was just like, it started off as just like your name.
Is bored,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. That just started out, it was like a channel that I was just personally using, and we just wanted to dump some of our like crappier content
it was
in
just
there.
it was just a channel that Ian made to comment on videos back in 2005.
So now I don't even have a channel to do that. Like I haven't been able to comment on a YouTube video in like 8 years.
Why haven't you made a new channel?
I'm too lazy.
So yeah, then we just started making some stupid videos with us together called The Day in the Life of Smosh. And we were like, you know,
Don't look them up. They're
really
so bad.
And we're like, you know what? Let's put it on this channel with 500 subscribers. It wouldn't make sense to make a new channel.
Yeah, and then we eventually transitioned that to our second channel and started putting more content on there. And now it's sort of its own beast. It's something very different, which is like what you guys did with your second channel, which then became your main channel, almost, right?
That's exactly right. That's exactly what. Yeah, we. But it wasn't just my channel. It was never just my channel. I wish it was now. You know, that would be great. No, I don't wish that. It was a joke. It was a joke. We're happy. We're happy enough.
Happy enough. That's
It was
our,
new
that's our
slogan.
Yeah.
Happy enough.
Let's see. We think about balance in like everything we do. You know, if we're scripting something, like I remember, well, for any script or for anything where we're like even in Good Mythical Morning, we make sure that we alternate who gets to say Good Mythical Morning. Like you said it yesterday, I say it today. You said the teaser yesterday. Like we literally have this conversation. We have someone who helps us keep track of it. And that's not their entire job. I hope.
Yeah, and sometimes we'll.
But we really care about that.
Well, there'll be like a channel trailer, or I'm trying to think of, you know, or like
right, something that
Buddy's
someone else
trailer.
Someone cuts together,
And then like if we always forget to make this note about balance before, and so then we watch it and we're both thinking like either it's a little Rhett heavy or it's a little Link heavy, and then we tell them that and they're like, what? We didn't know that was a thing. We're like, oh yeah.
Yeah, we're like
people don't think about it, but we do.
subconsciously counting how many laughs each person gets. I think let's just be honest.
Yeah.
But there was one video that I wasn't in at all, and that was that.
One of the best ones we've ever made.
I'm tired.
What's in your refrigerator? Which Brett wasn't in it either until the very end, and then so it was just a fridge that magically opens and you're supposed to guess based on what's in the
I wasn't going to be in that at all.
whose fridge it is. But then at the end, there's a dramatic reveal that involves Rhett dressed as an old man on a, what's that thing called?
Hover-round.
A hover-round. And pudding. If you like pudding, check that one out. But if you like me, don't watch it because I'm not in it. at all. But I wrote it all, and I edited it, and I color corrected it. No, I didn't do anything with it. I was there seething in the corner.
Right.
Why can't I be the old guy in the hover round? Can I be the hover round? No, that's not gonna work. I'm like, too late. I'll be in the sequel.
I didn't know you
I'm
meant
not
that.
bitter about this.
Clearly.
But I think that's the only video that I haven't been in, and that's why it sucked.
Yeah, I mean, I do get a little bitter sometimes, especially, I always mention this, our Legend of Zelda rap. I'm like, Ian, you look so much more like Link than I do. Not that Link,
But
the Legend of Zelda.
I do. I'm sorry, but Link is just a very white person.
Yeah.
I'm about as like pale as it gets.
Yeah.
So this came up a little bit, but are there some quirks that you can share that you kind of have, like with the idea of like how you sit or having to say certain things? Because I know when we used to be in content more frequently, which is almost never now, there was like, we would sit in the same spots, and like the spoiler series that we used to do typically would start with me saying hi, we're the Fine Brothers, until, and I'm gonna now reveal the whole thing, until we went from memorizing those, which was impossible, to a teleprompter. That took like a year. Then it became give me the long ones, because Rafi can't read the prompter as well as me. But these types of things. So are there other quirks that you're like, no, whenever we appear, like it has to be a certain thing?
Yeah, for sure. There's a certain series we do called If Blank Were Real, and whenever we do that, I'm like, I'm always on the left side, and I don't know why that happened, but it's just...
I'll tell you why. Because back when we both had long hair, our hair, my hair parted this way, and your hair parted this way.
So in order
yeah, for the
Look
camera's
at each
sake,
other.
yeah, you didn't want to be covering half your face
Yeah.
with your emo fringe.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, that got in the way of a lot of things. So a lot of times, it's like, I'm always on the left because my emo hair covers it up if I look to the right.
Yeah, and we used
You guys had the same problem, right?
Well, we used to
Emo
sit
hair?
as Link and Rhett, the other way around. We used to sit that way because when we performed, most of the comedy we did before YouTube was just live comedy and did a lot of live music. And so if I was playing the guitar and we were like close to each other, I didn't want the neck of the guitar, or Link didn't want the neck of the guitar to go out in front of him. So.
Because it would be right here. The end of the guitar was like right in front of my eyes.
But then we were playing at some, I don't know what it was, festival, and it was kind of like this, but it wasn't me in a cactus shirt. It was the Rhett and Link logo, like the old Rhett and Link logo, the old one. And so it was like Rhett and Link, and we were standing as Link and Rhett, and we were like, oh, we're confusing everybody. So we switched sides, and as you can see, we stick to that. I just try to violate it. I try to violate it every once in a while, but Link doesn't let me.
There are rules.
It would be confusing, because like on YouTubers React, it would say Link and Rhett if you sat the other way.
Right.
It would be confusing.
Right.
And that's the thing, duos all the way across. Every YouTuber doing this around the show, I think it's never happened that they've ever switched sides. Like everyone that comes on, they always sit the same way. But I've noticed that even with like the twins that are on like Teens React, like they also always sit the same way. It's interesting. Duos are weird about how they sit.
Yeah, you gotta sit right, man.
And we have like a weird naming thing. Like whenever we write our names on something, it's always Ian and Anthony, because Anthony and Ian sounds weird.
Sounds like you're
Anthony
trying to
and
sing
Ian.
a song.
Yeah. Anthony and Ian.
Yeah.
And we all have that. Well, Rhett and Link, how did that ever happen? How did it become Rhett and Link versus
Well,
Rhett?
Lincoln Rhett is like, it sounds like just a person's name. Lincoln Rhett.
So it's
Who's that? Is that the guy on The Walking Dead? See, it's confusing. So we went with Rhett and Link, because it's alphabetical also.
It's Benny and Rafi by age, but people call us Rafi and Benny sometimes. You don't know the difference, and then it always sounds.
Some people got that.
But it's easier to say Ben and Rafi than Rafi and Ben. Yeah, it's easier for your mouth.
2 vowels.
Benny and Rafi. Rafi and Benny. I don't know, that's pretty even. I think you guys can do whatever you want.
It doesn't bother me. How important would you say teamwork has been to the success that you have found? Like the reality that all of us starting from so long ago, but we were in teams. Kind of like I said in the beginning of like, so many of our peers are not in teams and did all that completely on their own. Like how much of an impact do you think it had on the success you've had?
I think it's really important to have a second opinion on creative things. I think that if you go through the history of YouTube and you see a YouTuber who is working alone, there's been many times that a YouTuber has said some dumb stuff from time to time, and I'm looking at him like, if they had a friend that just looked at the video and said, maybe you shouldn't post that. Yeah, so I think that we've we've kind of been that sort of buffer for each other. Like if something happened, you're like, man, I really want to make a video about that. And the person's like, it's going to be a little sketchy.
Yeah, and I think that it also really helps just for motivation, because I personally get more worked up when I'm working with someone else and like my ideas start just shooting out. And I feel like if I didn't have someone else, especially in the beginning of YouTube when I was a shy little boy, I would have just sat at my computer and wouldn't have been able to think of what to do, you know? So I think that it really helped to bounce ideas off a friend.
Yeah, I've got tremendous admiration for, you know, the solo creators who I think maybe they feed off of the comments a little more than we do, because creatively, like you're saying, like you've been saying, we spur each other on to create and then to make things better all along the way. Yeah, and we've never done it any other way, so it's hard for me to imagine like getting that initial motivation. I think at every stage of the process, there's always a benefit of having someone who's equally invested. So it's not just about, you know, he's giving feedback on me and vice versa. We do that. Like even when shooting Buddy System, I think we were able to give each other feedback that our director even couldn't give, in terms of like, that's not how we envisioned this. You're not nailing this, you know, and we didn't have to talk about it. But it does make things take a little longer, which is frustrating at times. So then you've got to deal with the frustration, and then you've got to deal with the fact that you're frustrated. And it's like, why are we arguing about why you're frustrated, or why I'm frustrated? And then it's half our day is gone. So I mean, there are definitely challenges associated with, you know, having to work so closely together, but the benefits far outweigh that.
Yeah, I think, you know, for somebody who's working alone, I mean, there's a lot of conversations that we have out loud with each other that a solo creator probably just has with themselves. But I think you need somebody to talk to and process this. If you're, kind of what Link was hinting at, if your understanding of who you are is what your fans think about you, that's not an accurate, that's not a 100% authentic picture of who you are. If you start becoming, I am who they think I am who the comments say I am, and you're just alone in that little world. That's why a lot of people who are solo creators, they have that video where you're like, I think they snapped. You know, because if they found their identity in other people's perception of them, and that's a dangerous place to be emotionally. So I think you get somebody to process this whole thing with is very helpful.
Which I think is, events like VidCon, I think, even help the idea of being able to be around each other more, which used to happen in different ways than it does now. And I think a lot of what, not has been lost, but has evolved so much is the amongst even all of us, because there used to be a lot of us, but it was manageable. Now, it's impossible. There's so many successful, creative people that it's hard to kind of be there for each other in the way that we all kind of were able to be there for each other in a lot of different ways over time. And I know that we definitely, all of us, I think, strive for that as we meet other creators to try to help them not snap. Because we all know what it's like, and that we have been fortunate enough to have other people around us to help us not snap. So that's a good thing. So we are going to open this up to questions shortly, but please keep it to like duos, business, what's it like working together, not like as much as not the old Smosh hair. But so get ready with your questions. But last thing I want to talk about before we open up the questions is people a lot of times have asked me and Rafi over time, there'll be moments where people don't know us that well, or it's a lawyer or somebody, and they're going to be like, well, what happens when you break up? And then you talk about, oh, that'll never happen. It's like, oh, it happens to everyone. So how do you kind of, what do you attribute to like being able to long-term, be able to maintain a partnership, becoming so successful, growing into such larger entities than we all were, and still be able to be up on this panel today and potentially for a very long time? Like, what has been that secret sauce or thing that allows you to remain a duo?
I think it's just been our ability to create the content that we want to create. Like we still enjoy making the videos that we're in and everything. So there's no real reason to, you know, break up, because we're still enjoying the content that we create together.
I think a lot of it is that we're both kind of pushovers, and we're not like trying to, like I was saying earlier, we're not trying to say like, my idea is the best idea, and it's just like our ability to work together has really helped us stay friends and also stay working partners for so long.
Yeah, I mean, I think a big part of it for us is, you know, we're always committed to the next thing that we've kind of committed to work on, and so we approach all these things together. So you're kind of constantly moving into the next project, and it's like, well, we got to do that now, and we got to do that now, and we got to do that now, and it doesn't really ever cross our minds would we not do that together, because it's a Rhett Link project. So, and I also think that there haven't really been any real opportunities because we've never really entertained them, but we don't take solo projects. I mean, just as a practice, it's like, okay, I want to go and do this. It's like, well, okay, but then we can't do this thing that we wanted to do together.
No.
So
There was that one audition.
yeah,
That you took.
I did take an audition for something that will remain nameless, but I went.
Why is it going to remain nameless?
Just because.
I bet they want to know.
We should save
Hunger Games?
We should save that for a book, man.
Oh. He wants to sell you a book.
Yeah.
I'll tell you guys later.
But and
I didn't get the part.
And I took it.
Thor, wasn't it?
Well, no, but actually, I kind of did. I kind of did get to the next part, but we went
a callback.
in, and I actually went in saying, and when I told the producer, I was like, I'm coming in to do this audition with the understanding that if I get the part, Link is also going to have a part. So, and we will be a duo in this.
And I didn't even have to audition. It seemed pretty
And
sweet.
then they were kind of like, we don't want to do that. But it was like, even the solo project was really just a way in for us to do something as a Rhett Link project. So I think a big part of it is just not seeing those solo things as an option. And I mean, listen, we're almost 40 years old. I'm not saying that we're never going to do anything apart from each other. But I think there's always going to be the next Rhett Link thing that we want to work on together. And that kind of keeps bringing you back together.
Okay, so let's open it up to some questions. There's so many questions. There's so many hands. I don't know where the people with the microphones are. Okay. Just pick someone.
Yeah.
Pick someone.
Who?
Oh, thank you. Sorry.
Sorry.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Go for it. Don't look up there.
Ah,
Just look
love
right
that.
here.
So mean.
How many fights do you have on average? Even small bickering or anything like that?
So the question, if anyone didn't hear, is how many fights, even if it's small bickering, happen?
Well, Anthony and I are extremely passive aggressive. So if I would say, for example, if one of us thinks the other person's idea is really terrible, we're like, yeah, I don't know. It's just
Well,
I'm not feeling it.
And if I say that to you a lot of times, you're like, okay, it's fine. I'm like,
hey,
just fine, or is this new idea that I had good, or what? He's like, no, we'll just do it.
no, just fine.
Like,
It's fine.
Okay, so that's as far as our arguing goes, and that's pretty constant.
I don't think we've ever raised our voices against each other.
Yeah, I think we talked about this on Air Biscuits when you guys were on,
Yeah.
I think. Because I think with us it's like a married couple in that there's a lot of, there's never been a falling out, but there's lots of little arguments that may get very intense, and then the people who are in the room with us, because at a meeting or whatever, they start just looking at each other like, oh, mom and dad are fighting again.
Like this morning, Rhett, I just knock on my hotel room door, and Christy says, Rhett's at the door. So I go to the door, and I
had already texted you 3 times.
and I open the door, and I got pants on, and that's it. And he's all ready.
Thank you for that.
So he's like, why aren't you ready?
No. See,
This is the shirt I'm wearing.
No.
Wear a different shirt.
You're sensationalizing the interaction.
And wait, you
All I said,
sexualized my part.
I didn't say, why aren't you ready? I was just
Mom and Dad, stop fighting!
I knocked on the door, you answered in your pants, and I was like, you're the one who told me we gotta be ready at 11. It's 11. And you were like, can we start over? I was like, why do we gotta start over? I mean, what I said made perfect
You were
sense.
upset.
I wasn't
like,
upset.
I don't have a shirt on.
I wasn't upset.
I
I'm
can be
upset
ready in
now.
5 minutes.
So
And
they-
now I know what shirt you're wearing.
And also, I texted you the picture of my shirt. I was like, this is what I'm wearing. Don't wear something just like it. And then you were like, well, thanks for letting me know what shirt you're wearing. I'm like, yeah, I already texted you that 20 minutes ago.
I didn't have my phone on me because I didn't have a shirt on. That's where I usually keep my phone. That's a lie, but I didn't look at it.
Yeah, see. So there's a lot of this. I'd say multiple times a day.
I think this could be an entire channel in and of itself.
Okay, so this
I've pitched a podcast where we like see a couples
Sorry.
therapy.
we've talked about this before because and this may be there could be a cultural difference here, you know, with between the U.S. and here, but I feel like a lot of the younger fans they don't think that friendships involved arguments or something. So it's like, oh, if someone's arguing, oh, that means you're not friends or there's something bad in the relationship. But it might be a personality thing. If you guys are both passive, then that's kind of thing that's probably not going to happen. But we're not. And
Like,
so
they're on the show and we'll see comments if we like, if there's like a sarcastic remark or like we cut our eyes at each
makes
other the
people
wrong
feel
way.
uncomfortable. We're like, I don't know. That's how we see friendship. Is you're gonna be honest with each other.
Yeah, Ian and I are way more passive aggressive than that. Like our argument today was not an argument. It was Ian texting me in the morning saying, "Hi, you know to be there at this time, right?" Just because he knows I'm gonna be late. So
It worked.
it worked
Because you thought it was at the wrong time.
Yeah, it would've been
And
almost
in
late.
that text,
I was
it would have been
almost late.
it would have been a dynamic duo panel and one guy here.
But you didn't text, this is the black overshirt I'm wearing.
We should have. We should have because we both wore black, so we kind of messed up.
Tell her, man.
No, it
Yeah.
kind of works.
I was like, I'm not wearing socks today. You better wear socks. You're gonna make me look
And
bad.
I
But you didn't say that. You're making fun of us now. You didn't say that. Just say it. You didn't.
I don't say anything.
That was a good question. And I'm not even going to answer it. All right, what's the...
I just wanted to see if we could fight, but then you were like, I didn't say it.
The retreat.
All right, let's find out in the world. Pick someone. Magically.
There's somebody over there with a microphone.
He feels bad about picking.
I do feel bad about picking.
He's pretty passive aggressive.
Who? Somewhat? Mike? Go.
Hello. What are payments?
What do you say?
Something about opinions?
What are payments per month?
Can you relay that to us?
Say
Because
something about her penis.
Payments. What do you get paid per month?
What do you get
what do we
paid?
get paid meds?
What are your payments?
What do you get paid?
Say that one more time.
What do you get paid per month?
Payments.
How much money do we make?
Yes!
It's a great question.
I don't know how to convert to euros.
Yeah, we would try to get it right. Yeah.
Let's take a question from, she's got, her hair is braided right here. She's got the blue hat. Better not be about how much we make.
I received a special present.
Thank you.
Okay.
What is happening over here?
I don't know if this is planned or
age
someone
appropriate?
attacking me.
I think it's a crash moment here, Anthony.
Is this an age appropriate present?
What the hell is this?
I love your hair. Thank you. Thank you.
This is that guy that was interviewing the farm brothers.
Oh,
A
that's
picture of him.
That's very
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Go for
Gotta
it.
hang that up now.
All right, this is going somewhere special.
We prefer for this to be about us,
Thank
not
you.
about you, sir, so.
Go ahead.
At least he dressed up for the occasion.
Hi. I think he just took the photo today. It's adorable.
If this was VidCon Anaheim, that guy would have been tackled by like 7 people.
Yeah, he would have been tased for
So
sure.
different here. He would have been shot already.
Let's go for it.
Shocked.
Shocked or shot?
So, well, I wanted to ask. For example, me and my boyfriend, we don't really have the same taste in some things. Like, well, one of the very few things we both like is Good Mythical Morning. But when we, for example, want to watch something like a series, we can't really compromise with that well. How do you do it when you have very different tastes in some things? Do you compromise up to a certain point, or
Well, first of all, you put a lot of pressure on us to continue the show forever so that your relationship will remain intact. Compromise.
For Ian and I, it's whoever says something first. I don't know. It's just like, hey, you want to eat here? It's like, okay, and that's just pretty easy for us. Pretty passive aggressive.
Yeah. Gosh. I don't know. That's some relationship advice. Yeah.
From a very business perspective, you could, well, it's only business, it doesn't really work in this situation at all. But I think for what Rafi and I do is we have so many different series and shows now that certain shows just don't really fall under either one of us anymore. So the compromise is kind of like, well, do whatever you want with that show. I'm going to do what I want with this show, and then we both have a show.
So maybe go into separate rooms
and watch
separate
different things, and then report back to each other of what you thought of each thing.
Right.
And then, or you can make it a game, make it a reaction. Watch them react to something they don't like, film it, put it on YouTube.
Great advice. Great advice.
Good luck.
Alright, that's fine, back then.
Best wishes.
Mike?
No?
There we go, there you are.
Oh, it's working. Hello. I have a question to Smosh. I wanted to ask, you had this Smosh house earlier in the days, and when was the point reached in your career where you decided to move on in a studio in LA?
Yeah, I think it kind of goes back to the fact that, Anthony and I were spending every waking moment together for the first probably 3 years.
More than that.
Yeah, and it kind of became this thing where we were getting a little burnt out doing every single facet of Smosh. So then we really just wanted to do the creative stuff and just focus on creating instead of trying to keep a website from crashing or making sure that the video's edited in the correct codec or whatever. So I lost my train of thought. Can you pick up from where I left off?
Yes, sir. So I believe the question was what made us decide to move production from Smosh House to LA. Is that what you're asking? I think the biggest part of it was just that we moved and it made sense for us to live in LA, and eventually we decided it would make sense to move our production because we were flying back and forth all the time, and we found really good people that we really liked working with in LA, and it made a lot of sense for us to work out of a studio rather than where we were living, because we actually lived in that house for a long time. It was kind of making me go crazy because I'm kind of like, I need things to be really clean and put a certain way, but like when you're living in a house with production, there's just trash everywhere. So,
plus I was living there and I'm kind of trashy, so.
And you like to keep trash everywhere as well.
Yeah, it's just it's comfortable.
So it helped us being able to move to a studio.
And let's go to this side.
Okay, so I have a question for all of you. The Fine Brothers, you are brothers, so you have no other option. But you guys are friends since a long, long time, especially Rhett and Link, since high school, I think. How do you keep your friendship and your work and keep being friends? Because I have a roommate and we end up hating each other. We love each other, but we hate. So now, how do you do that? That's admirable. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that it's an important aspect of what we're doing we hang out as friends, we cultivate the friendship. I mean, Rhett said earlier that I think we're so aligned because we want to accomplish and create the same things, and at least for us that does go a long way, because when you're working together making something and then you see it all the way through, that is a great way to build a friendship. But we also do things that are just for the sake of the friendship, like go surfing or see a movie. We're here with hanging out together, doing stuff in Amsterdam and brought our families along, and so we've had a lot of fun. We saw someone make clogs, and we're like, should we put this on Instagram? And it's like, well, this is just for us, man. Us watching these clogs be made was just for us and our families, and it was very special, and we're gonna hold on to that for days. We didn't actually buy the clocks.
I like how we established that siblings are forced to be friends. Forced. But I'll say the same thing, especially with how busy things have gotten, having the company that we have and all the time we spend together at work. It's pivotal to the relationship to spend time together away from work. And so we very specifically have moments of excitement when it's like, oh my goodness, I think we have half of a Saturday. We can actually hang out together like we used to. So there's a lot of friendship elements that have sustained our relationship this whole time. If we weren't, as Rafi always likes to say, but he's right, we've been best friends since we were little kids, and so that maintains to this day.
Yeah, for us, it's just been about, I think, making each other laugh, and that's how the videos that we originally created got started, and that's kind of how we've continued to work. So working kind of felt just like fun because we were just like, let's make each other laugh like we always have. And with that, I feel like our relationship's been able to stay strong. We've been able to stay friends.
All right, can we go somewhere in the back? I don't think we've heard from anybody in the back yet. Making you walk, I'm sorry. To the back.
Can you do a British accent?
Oh, please no.
I think we've all
They've all done that, haven't they?
done versions of British accents multiple times on the internet and proven that. No, not really.
People get very upset. People get very upset. Like I've done Daniel Radcliffe, Harry Potter in videos before, and people get very mad.
Yes.
People not happy about it. But I think I sound okay. But apparently not.
I feel like accents are not subjective. Like, it's either right or it's wrong. And if you don't speak it, you feel like it's right, but it's not.
It's like I didn't answer.
But it's also like, even if you
see, it didn't work.
Even if you do nail a British accent, then they're like, no, but we don't all talk like that. That's just a posh accent that everybody thinks we have, and we don't all. So it's like, even if you do nail one region, then everyone else.
And then you see people that do talk like that, you're like, yes, some of you do. And then when you try to do a British accent, you're like, that's not, it's English accent. There's no such thing as a British accent. Have you heard that?
Yes, we've heard it all. We just don't do it anymore.
So, but didn't she just ask for someone to do
Oh my
a
God.
British accent? I mean, why can't we?
she did
Why can't we just do one? I don't understand why we can't just do one.
I think we're just trying to save that
You
data.
don't have to be great at it. I watched Animaniacs when I was a kid, and I'm just talking like wacko.
What the hell?
Sorry.
We're not responsible for him. All right, somewhere on this side, shoe. No, we'll go to shoe later.
Go to shoe later.
Hey, that was loud. I was just going to say I'm a big fan of both of you. Little the Fine Brothers, but
Shade.
Understandable.
but I was wondering, how do you do the big decisions in the shows and stuff? Like if you're adding a member to the crew or something, if one of you have one opinion and one of you have the other, and it's really important, how do you decide?
I think how do we decide when we both feel strongly about something? I think it's rare that we both feel exactly the same level of strength about something. So one of us, we can tell, it's like, whoa, this must mean a lot to you. So I'm gonna back down. So I think that's actually the rare occasion where it's like something we both feel so strongly about that we can really tell, but like we get into it, it gets heated, but even then we can tell who cares more, and then we'll defer to that person. But then we're also keeping score, so we can use that against them for the next decision, which will probably be in like 5 minutes.
Right. Well, and I think that the other thing is we usually, for important things like hiring somebody, we're going to be on the same page about that. So.
Did you ask about hiring somebody?
Or like, well, he said something about adding somebody to the team.
Oh.
Yeah. So for that kind of stuff, it's all right. How do you feel about this? It's like I like him. It's like I don't really, and they'll be like, okay, let's find somebody we both like. So usually for major decisions, we wait until we're both on the same page.
Yeah, I think also we've surrounded ourselves with people that we trust and that we think share the same passion that we do. So if Anthony and I can't come to a complete consensus on an idea, it could even be something as dumb as like a thumbnail, where he's like, no, I think like the person should be on this side of the thumbnail, and then this should be on that side. Like if we disagree on like a thumbnail, we'll just be like, well, what do you guys think? We'll pass it off to either the squad or the editor, somebody that we trust their opinion. So we have a third party to sort of defer to if we ever get deadlocked on thumbnail.
Yeah, I mean we call them fancy names like editors and stuff like that, but they're really just a therapist. It's like we owe. Like 5 years ago or 6 years ago, we brought on a writer that would help us write stuff, and a lot of times I'm like, I really feel strongly about this, and he'd say the same thing, and they'd be like, what do you think? And then they arbitrarily pick a side, and that would help us.
Okay. Where are we? Well, let's go to the shoe. I promised the shoe. You're now forever known as the shoe.
My name is Milan, but you can call me Shoe if you want.
It's a good nickname.
Yeah, thanks. Massive respect for everyone, first of all. When you first started to get other people on a team, what were the qualities of those people that you were actually looking for? And the second thing is, especially for Smosh, when I saw the old video when you had an audition for the female person for Mari that you did. And can you kind of describe what you looked for other people that represented you, like the Smart Squad? What was it that you looked in, her characteristics?
The biggest thing was finding someone that had as much passion for what they were creating as we do. We felt like we just got someone that was just taking it as a day job or just looking for a check or living week to week on whatever, not really caring. It would not work. And I think that was the biggest part. And it's funny because Mari, when we hired her, for example, she didn't know how to edit and do a lot of things that are really fundamental to what she ended up doing. And we always felt like you can teach someone that has a lot of passion and a really good character how to do things like edit, but you can't necessarily teach someone how to edit, someone that does know how to edit, you can't teach them how to have all the other traits that we're really looking for.
And I think probably one of the main traits that we look for is a person just has to be a nerd. Nerds are the best. Yeah, right? Yeah. Shout out to the nerds out there. If you're too cool, it's, I don't know, it's...
What do you mean? You mean just feeling comfortable with just being yourself?
Just being yourself,
yeah.
Having an interest in silly things, and that's what I feel like, made us successful is because we love Pokemon. So, we enjoy making stupid Pokemon videos, and it's just finding some like-minded nerds to make silly videos with.
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, those first few people that we hired, it was mostly about being able to represent our opinions, being able to look at something that we're making and learn to have the same instincts that we would bring to it if we were sitting down with it. That's not as important now if you've got a few of those people in important places in your company, but it's somebody who can just kind of understand what you're trying to do, which is, you can have people who are really, really talented and work very, very hard, but they may not get exactly what you're trying to do and what you think makes what you do special. But when you can find somebody that can do that, then you can kind of build a culture where people understand what you're trying to accomplish.
And I think that's important, especially in quote-unquote new media, especially with some of the, as your company's grown, our company's grown, you end up with people that have a lot of experience sometimes in other forms of media, and you need to make sure they actually want to be there for the right reasons, they understand why this is the future. And we have a no yelling rule at the company, so like as part of the interview process of like, we're good people here and we just don't solve things by yelling, which came from bad experiences we had working in other places where people would yell. So it sounds like a little thing, but it actually can go a long way with the idea of like, we all are just going to talk. Which a lot of our content is talking, so it makes sense that we hire people who know how to talk. All right, we're gonna go one more question. I'm not gonna.
One more? Man, this one really matters.
Well, I mean, I feel like we're gonna run out of time.
Unless it's not good.
Really.
Right, unless it's poor. Link, you're the judge.
No pressure.
Where we go?
You're the judge, Link.
Oh, yeah, I'll judge the question when I hear it.
Oh, okay. Let's just go with
you want me to choose somebody?
Awesome.
This is a question for you all. Do you have any creepy synchronized moments?
Creepy synchronized moments? Is that what you asked? Yes? Okay. Like a jinx, and then you can't say another word until someone says your name 3 times?
You mean like twin telepathy? Like they've worked together so long, something's odd, and they just do it at the same time?
I think.
Oh yeah.
People in the room. Oh, you got something?
Well, this has happened at least 20 times in our lives where we will meet someone.
Oh yeah.
So the best example I have is there was a guy that was working for us and we had just hired him, and Link got into the car first and like had the like getting to know you conversation with him. And then I got into the car like 10 minutes later.
And it was a very specific, it starts out general. It's like, hey, where are you from? Oh, Wyoming. Have you ever killed a bear?
It was very specific. And then
yes, I made it into a rug. Oh, do you have any pictures of the rug?
And after I had this, like 10 minutes into my conversation with this guy, I was like, hold on. Did you just have this exact same conversation with Link? And he was like, yes. And that's happened at least 20 times, where we basically have the exact same conversation. We want to know exactly the same person's things about somebody when we're getting
about bear rugs, basically.
Yeah.
We ask everyone about
very specific.
Bear rugs.
So that happens all the time.
I remember Ian and I in high school, we would show up to school wearing the same shirt. I don't know how, like we show up at the same places, like the same bands, but there was at least 20 times when we showed up to school wearing the same shirt, and it was highly embarrassing.
That's when we needed, back then, we should have been texting each other what we
Texting
were
wasn't
wearing
a
every day.
thing. Like we would have to get on AIM and like send each other a message before school, be like, I'm wearing the blue shirt today.
Yeah, right. That would have been really helpful.
Yeah.
There's a video on our second channel somewhere, and I don't even remember which one it was, that showed this happen in real time. Like we were trying to film we're giving you information video, and we kept we both weren't raising our hand, like we wanted it to be in unison, and like one was up and one was down. And then we would just look at each other, realizing that we didn't do it without talking. None of this was audible. It was like turn, and then we would do it again, and then the reverse would happen. Turn, and it was this incredible thing that we realized watching the raw footage back, that we didn't say words to each other, but knew exactly what we were thinking to then keep doing it the wrong way, and then realize what we meant, and then did it the right way. There's a whole video somewhere. Someone dig it out. I'm not sure where it is. So we kind of just know each other's thinking. I don't think there's gonna be time. Should we try to squeeze one in?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's squeeze another one in. All right, let's go right here. Yeah.
Hi. It's a question for all of you. When you first joined together in like a joint partnership, when you started out all of your channels, what did you originally think your partnership would be like?
Well, I mean, we didn't really have any expectations for what it should be like. We were just making some videos for fun.
I mean, our expectation at the time was that we were going to lip sync to theme songs.
Forever.
I thought that was going to just be our life.
You'll always still be watching that.
Well, musically now. So
Exactly, you were ahead of your time.
Should have been born 10 years ago.
let's not mention that. Terrible.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh
we
my gosh,
honestly
I
had
don't
no
know this.
expectation. We just thought that we were just making stuff for fun, and we're lucky enough that we were able to keep making stuff that made us laugh, and we've been able to continue doing that.
We took a blood oath in middle school to, we really did, where we sat in a cow pasture where we would frequently have conversations and chase the cows. I would, just as an aside, I would highly recommend chasing a cow. If you can get in a space with a cow, you should definitely chase it. Unless you're the farmer.
Not a small space.
It needs to be a big
like an open space.
Like a football field.
Yeah, like at least the size of this place.
This would be great. If there were cattle here, boy, we'd be having a blast.
Yeah.
But there's not. But we're doing okay. This has been good. It's now over.
Things you by the hotel. Yeah, there's negative numbers on that thing flashing now.
But it makes the cows too lean. So it's not good if you're if it's a whether it's milk or meat or whatever it is.
And they're supposed to be pretty sedentary. That's kind of part of the whole domestication thing.
But if you don't have any economic interest in the in the fatitude of the cow, then I would highly recommend chasing it. So when presented with the opportunity, there's a lot of fertile.
But to answer your question,
around here.
I would say we approached after that blood oath. We always approached every project, whether it was a school project or whether it was a professional project. We never really stopped to think, is this a partnership? It was just like, oh, we're just friends who work on things together. And so I think we just approached it that way from the very beginning. And the philosophy really hasn't changed. So again, it's just kind of a similar answer. It didn't have many expectations other than, hopefully somebody will like this.
I think the cows liked it. I mean, they got their exercise.
Yeah, they did.
No treadmill that day. I could eat a milkshake. Do they eat milkshake?
Oh, no, they don't.
It doesn't seem right.
And they would drink it, by the way. They wouldn't eat it.
All right. Well, big thanks for taking the time and having us out here in Europe. Big thanks